What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best WNBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 20 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got 2 picks wrong, got 20 right, which is a 90% win rate. Yes guys, you heard that right, 90% win rate. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 90% win rate and get 20 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which will be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure you join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $800 just yesterday, and another member who won $400 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to eJeter4710 who said you that dude, and also shouts out to PandaX1482 who said is there room for a new member? And yes, there is always room. Definitely go check out the link in the description, but shouts out to them. And if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight to the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to be talking about is none other than Nas Hillman, and this one is for 8.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now we look at Nas Hillman, we actually have seen her go on the under in actually 4 out of the last 5 games, and on top of that, we also do see when it actually comes to those last 5 games, we see on August 20th, facing off against Las Vegas Aces, had 1 point there. August 20th, faced off against Minnesota, had 2 points there. Then August 24th, faced off against New York Liberty, had 11 points in that matchup. Then August 28th, faced off against Aces, and then also had 7 points there. Then August 30th, faced off against Dallas and had 4 points in that matchup. Now, when we actually look, at this matchup more in depth, we do know Atlanta Dream face off against Connecticut Sun coming into this game. Now, when we look at, this matchup ranking-wise, looking at Atlanta Dream first, we do see that they actually rank 3rd in the actual WNBA. Now, and when we look at, someone like Nas Hillman, she definitely has provided a lot for this team. Now, not only do they rank 3rd in the Eastern Conference, but they also have a record of 25 wins and 14 losses. It actually puts them in the #1 spot in the Eastern Conference. Now, they actually have a record of a 64.1% win percentage, also have 13-6 from home, 12-8 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. Now, when it comes to Atlanta Dream, they face off against Connecticut Sun, or Connecticut Sun do actually rank 11th in the WNBA. So it's definitely been a bit of a struggle for Connecticut Sun. They do actually have a record that puts them in the 5th spot in the in the Eastern Conference, And on top of that, they have a record of 10 wins, 29 losses. That's a 25.6% win percentage, and are also 6-13 from home, 4-16 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So looking at Connecticut Sun defensively, however, looking more, in detail, we do know Connecticut Sun do rank 10th when it comes to points allowed. However, the reason why we do like the under for this situation here is that when we look at someone like Nas Hillman, she is actually a forward, and what we have seen time and time again is that Connecticut Sun actually do a fantastic job against Nas Hillman's position. So for that reason, they definitely do pretty decent there, but on top of that, we also do know when it comes, to Nas Hillman, she is a forward that does play usually off the bench. So when we look at that, off the bench forwards, we definitely see Connecticut Sun doing a pretty poor job there. Now, she does, sometimes start some games she does come off the bench. It really does matter, but, either way, we definitely see it affecting her greatly, as Nas Hillman hasn't really had the greatest usage rate as of lately. She's gone on the under in 4 out of the last 5, and that's why we do very much like the under for this one. So definitely keep an eye out for Nas Hillman for 8.5 points for less. I think is a fantastic pick. So getting to the next player, we're going to be talking about Gabby Williams. So, as you all know, Gabby Williams, great player from none other than Seattle Storm, and Gabby Williams has done a fantastic job, actually, doing a great job for this Storm team. But this one is for 11.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Gabby Williams, we actually have seen her go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Looking at those 5 games, you see on August 23rd, faced off against Dallas, had 9 points there. August 25th, faced off against Washington Mystics, had 10 points. Then August 27th, faced off against Indiana, had 2 points there. August 29th, faced off against Minnesota, had 16 points. And August 31st, faced off against Chicago and had 12 points in that matchup. So we actually did see her go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. And looking at this matchup, we do know when it comes to actually Gabby Williams, we do actually see her face off against none other than actually, Los Angeles Sparks. Now, it is definitely going to be an exciting game between both of these teams for sure. But looking at this matchup more in depth, what we also do see when it comes to actually Gabby Williams and Seattle Storm and Sparks, looking at where Seattle Storm do rank, they do currently rank 7th in the actual, WNBA. Not only do they rank 7th in the WNBA, but they have a record of 22 wins and 19 losses, and it also gives them a 53.7% win percentage. They are 9-10 from home, 13-9 from away, and are currently on a 2-game win streak. So it is pretty interesting to see there. Obviously, looking at someone, like Gabby Williams, we definitely have seen her provide a lot for this team. But on top of that, we definitely still have seen, Seattle Storm struggle a little bit when it comes to, kind of getting higher in those rankings. And they have continued to try to push. And Los Angeles Sparks aren't any better because Los Angeles Sparks find them in a situation where they are currently ranked 9th in the WNBA. Now, not only do they rank 9th in the WNBA, but they also do rank 6th in the Western Conference, have 17 wins, 20 losses. That's a 45.9% win percentage. So it is pretty interesting to see there. Obviously, coming into this matchup, it's definitely going to be an exciting one. But we also do know that they are 7-12 from home, 10-8 from away, and are currently on a 2-game losing streak. So it is pretty interesting to see there. Now, coming into this matchup, it's definitely going to be an exciting one. But what we also do see when it comes to actually, Los Angeles Sparks, defensively, we do also see when it comes to points allowed, they do rank 13th. However, similar to the situation which we talked about before when it came to actually Nas Hillman, we also do have a similar story where we do very much like the under, because when we look on a per position basis, we are definitely expecting the under for this situation here. Now, looking at someone, like Gabby Williams, she is a forward, and Los Angeles Sparks actually do a fantastic job against her position. So that's why we do very, very much like the under for this one here. So definitely keep an eye out for it. Now, when we look at her average over the last 5, it is also 9.8, which is interesting to see. And we also have seen when it comes to actually Gabby Williams, we have definitely seen that when we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have her favored for the under as well. So that works out in our favor there. So for that reason, Gabby Williams, 11.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about Kelsey Plum. So there is only a couple of games for today, so some of the picks definitely may have some slight, I would say kind of overlap of each other. And this one is from that same game, Sparks and Seattle, but this one is actually for Kelsey Plum for 5.5 assists, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Kelsey Plum, we actually have seen her go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Looking at those 5 games, see on August 18th, faced off against Washington Mystics, actually had 6 assists there. Then on top of that, August 21st, faced off against Dallas, had 1 assist. August 27th, faced off against Phoenix Mercury, had 4 assists. Then Indiana had 3 assists on August 30th. And September 1 against Washington Mystics actually had 7 assists there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, we have seen Kelsey Plum go on the under, in 3 out of the last 5. And Los Angeles Sparks do face off, as we all know, against, Seattle Storm. Now, when we look at this matchup, we do also know when it comes to, someone like Kelsey Plum and Sparks, they face off against Seattle. Looking at where both these teams do rank, obviously starting off with Sparks, we did already mention they rank 9th in the WNBA. They do have a record of 17 wins and 20 losses. However, over the last 10 games, we've actually seen that they actually have a record of 5-5. So pretty decent there. Now, when we look at their actual matchup, Seattle Storm, we do know Storm are in the same conference. They rank 7th in the WNBA, however, they rank 22 and 19. They have a 53.7% win percentage, but over the last 10 games, they've actually had a record of 6 and 4. So pretty good job there. So when we look at this matchup for Kelsey Plum, we do very, very much like the under for this situation here, due to the fact that when we look at someone like Kelsey Plum, we definitely have seen her, do a pretty decent job for this Sparks team, or as much as she can. But looking at actually where Seattle Storm do rank defensively when it comes to assists allowed, they do actually rank 5th. That's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. We definitely have seen time and time again when it actually comes to someone like, Kelsey Plum, we definitely have seen her do a fantastic job for this team. But on this occasion, we are expecting Seattle Storm's defense to really play a huge factor there, which could definitely lead to the under in this situation. Now, looking at someone like Kelsey Plum over the last 5 games, we also have seen that her average over the last 5 is 4.2. So slightly under this line. Now, on top of that, we also do see when it comes to, someone like Kelsey Plum and also this matchup, when you look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also are favored for the under as well. So it works out in our favor there. So Kelsey Plum, 5.5 assists, 4 less, I think is a fantastic pick.
So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but PrizePicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player going to be talking about is none other than Alanna Morrow. So Alanna Morrow, great player for none other than Connecticut Sun, and she's done a fantastic job so far this season, averaging 7.6 points, 6.6 rebounds, 0.5 assists, and also 0.8 steals. So we have seen her do a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at someone like Connecticut Sun, we do know that they have themselves a very good matchup against Atlanta Dream. Now, it is definitely going to be an exciting game there. Now, looking at where both of these teams do rank, starting off with Connecticut Sun, we actually have seen them come in at the 11th spot in the WNBA. They have a record of actually 10 and 29, so 10 wins, 29 losses. On top of that, they do actually rank 5th in the Eastern Conference. So it's definitely been a little bit of a tough season for them. They actually have a win percentage of 25.6, are also 6 and 13 from home, 4 and 16 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So it's definitely been a little bit tough there. Well, looking at this matchup, we do know Connecticut Sun and Alanna face off against Atlanta, where Atlanta do actually come in at the 3rd spot in the WNBA. Now, not only do they come in at the 3rd spot in the WNBA, but on top of that, we also do see that they actually rank 1st in the Eastern Conference. So conference-wise, they do actually lead their conference with 25 wins and 14 losses. That's a 64.1% win percentage. They're also 13 and 6 from home, 12 and 8 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So it's definitely been interesting there. Now, looking at this, matchup between both of these teams and looking at where Atlanta Dream do rank defensively, we do know Atlanta Dream ranks 2nd when it comes to points allowed, 2nd when it comes to assists allowed, and 1st when it comes to rebounds allowed. So they actually have done a fantastic job when it comes to, restricting points, rebounds, and assists. That's a big reason why they do find themselves in a very good position where they do or are actually, in some very high rankings in all 3 categories. So coming into this matchup, we do very much like the under for this situation here. Now, although Alanna Morrow is a great player and has done a fantastic job for Connecticut Sun, she definitely is still a rookie, and her usage rate tends to fluctuate here and there. And coming into a matchup against a tough team like Alanna Morrow faces off against Atlanta, we definitely see that happening here. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the under for this one. Now, when we look at Alanna Morrow over the last 5 games, we see on the 22nd, faced off against Washington Mystics, had a 67-56 win with 6 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist there. Then on the 24th, faced off against Chicago, had a 94-84 win with 7 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist there. Then on the 26th, faced off against New York Liberty, had an 81-79 loss with 18 points, 15 rebounds, 0 assists there. Then on the 28th, faced off against Dallas, had a 101-95 win with 11 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists. Then on the 31st, faced off against Minnesota Lynx, actually had a 94-70 loss with 6 points, 11 rebounds, and also 0 assists there. So it is pretty interesting to see, obviously looking at where, Alanna Smith has done, over the last couple of games. She has done well in some games, other games hasn't really done too well there. So that's why coming into this next one, we do very, very much like the under for this one. So for that reason, Alanna Morrow, keep an eye out for the under. If the line is too close to her averages, then definitely look to go on the under there. Now, when we look at the next player, we're going to be talking about Alanna Smith from actually, Minnesota Lynx. Now, she's done a fantastic job so far this season, actually averaging 9.9 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 2.8 assists. Now, she also does have 1.3 steals, but overall, we definitely do very, very much like this situation here because we do find that Alanna Smith and Minnesota Lynx have themselves a very good matchup against Dallas Wings. Now, it is definitely going to be an interesting game there. Now, when we look at actually Dallas Wings, we do find them in a very tough position because Dallas Wings do actually rank, 13th in the WNBA. So it's definitely been a little bit tough for them. Not only do they rank 13th in the WNBA, that is putting them at the last spot overall. And on top of that, also at the last spot, when it comes to their Western Conference. So, overall, it's very, very interesting because we have definitely seen when it comes to actually, Alanna Smith and Minnesota Lynx. Obviously, there is a bit of discrepancy between both these teams' rankings, but looking at Wings first, they do have a 9-win, 31-loss record. That's a 22.5% win percentage. On top of that, they are 5-16 from home, 4-15 from away, and are currently on a 7-game losing streak. So it's definitely been a little bit tough there. Now, when we look at this matchup, they face off against Lynx, as we mentioned, where Lynx do come in at the number 1 spot in the WNBA. So not only do they come at the number 1 spot in the WNBA, but on top of that, they have 31 wins. So they actually find themselves with 31 wins, 8 losses. That's a 79.5% win percentage, and are also 18-2 from home, 13-6 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So it is pretty interesting to see there. Obviously, looking at someone, like Alanna Smith and the Minnesota Lynx, they have definitely been on a dominant streak as of lately. When it comes to the way they have been playing, it's definitely paid off for them. But they face off against Dallas Wings in this next matchup. And looking at Dallas Wings, they do actually rank 12th when it comes to points allowed. They also rank 13th when it comes to assists allowed and then rebounds allowed. We also do see that, Dallas Wings do actually rank 8th. So Dallas Wings do rank very, very poor in all 3 categories. So that's why coming into this very next game, we do very much like the actual over for someone like Alanna Smith. Now, Alanna Smith is a great player, but on top of that, a big reason why we do very much like the over is due to the fact that Dallas Wings are just such a poorly defensive team. That is, really interesting to see because we have definitely seen when it comes to Alanna Smith, we definitely have seen her, struggle at times. But against a team like Dallas Wings, we don't really expect her to struggle there. When it comes to her usage rate, it does remain very consistent, however, through all games, even against tougher defensive teams. And that definitely does give us a justification on why we still do like the over, especially against an easier matchup and against Dallas Wings. So no disrespect to Dallas there, but we don't really see them really giving too much of Alanna Smith a fight here. Now, when we look at the last 5 games, we do see on the 22nd, faced off against Atlanta Dream, had a 75-73 loss with 10 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 assist there. Then on the 23rd, faced off against Indiana, had a 95-90 win with 8 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists there. Then on the 25th, faced off against Indiana again with a 97-84 win with 8 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists in that matchup. Then on the 29th, faced off against Seattle Storm, had a 93-79 loss with 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists there. Then on the 31st, faced off against Connecticut Sun, had a 94-70 win with 18 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Alanna Smith, we definitely have seen her, do a fantastic job, especially against much easier defensive teams. And that's why coming into this next one, we do very, very much like the actual over for this situation here. So definitely keep an eye out for the over for Alanna Smith there. If the line is under her averages, then definitely look to go on the over. Now getting to the next player, we're going to be talking about none other than Britney Sykes. So Britney Sykes, great player as we all know, and she's done a fantastic job so far this season for actually Seattle Storm, because she's actually averaged 14.4 points, 3.2 rebounds, and 4.1 assists. So it's definitely been an interesting time for Britney Sykes because she has definitely been playing very well. And looking at Seattle Storm, they have themselves a very good matchup against Los Angeles Sparks. So it is definitely going to be an interesting matchup there. Now, looking at both of these teams and where they do rank, starting off with Seattle, we actually do see Seattle do come in at the 7th spot in the WNBA. Not only do they come in at the 7th spot in the WNBA, but they also have 22 wins and 19 losses. Now, it puts them actually 4th in the Western Conference. They have a 53.7% win percentage. They're also 9-10 from home, 13-9 from away, and are currently on a 2-game win streak. So it is pretty interesting to see there. Now, obviously, they face off against Los Angeles Sparks, where Sparks do find themselves in the 9th spot in the WNBA, and on top of that find themselves in the 6th spot in the Western Conference. Now they actually have a record of 17 wins and 20 losses. That's a 45.9% win percentage. They're also 7-12 from home, 10-8 from away, and are currently on a 2-game losing streak. So pretty interesting to see there. Now obviously looking at this matchup even more in depth, looking at where Los Angeles Sparks do rank, we do find that Sparks do actually rank a 13th when it comes to points allowed, 12th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed, they surprisingly rank 5th. So they do rank a little bit higher in that rebounding category, and that's why for someone like Britney Sykes, we do like the over for this situation here, but strictly just for points and assists. And a big reason being is that when you look at someone like Britney Sykes, we definitely have seen her do a fantastic job, but we also do know when it comes to Britney Sykes, we are expecting, her to be able to do very well in the points and assists category, as her usage rate remains very well in both. Now looking at her, over the last 5 games, we definitely have seen her play some pretty big matchups. We see on the 23rd, faced off against Dallas, had a 95-60 win in that matchup with 8 points, 1 rebound, and 5 assists there. Then on the 25th, faced off against Washington Mystics, had an 84-82 win with 10 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist there. Then on the 27th, faced off against Indiana, had a 95-75 loss with 12 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists there. Then on the 29th, faced off against Minnesota Lynx, had a 93-79 win with 8 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists there. Then on the 31st, faced off against Chicago, had 11 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists in that matchup. So we definitely have seen Britney Sykes do a fantastic job time and time again. And coming into this next one against Los Angeles Sparks, we definitely see her being able to go on the over, no doubt about it. So Britney Sykes, keep an eye out for the line. If the line is under our averages, then definitely look to go on the over. Now getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Briana Jones. So Briana Jones, great player for Atlanta Dream, has done a fantastic job there. And when we look at Briana Jones, we have actually seen her average 12.9 points, 7.2 rebounds, 2.3 assists, and 1.1 steals. So she's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now when we actually look at Briana Jones, we do know when it comes to, her matchup, Atlanta Dream, they face off against Connecticut Sun. Now we have briefly touched on this, but just quickly reiterate, Atlanta Dream do come in at the number 1 spot in the actual Eastern Conference, and then the 3rd spot in the WNBA overall. Now they do have a record of 25 wins and 14 losses, but over the last 10 games, they've actually had a record of 7-3. So they actually have been on quite a roll as of lately, and they definitely are expecting it to continue into this next one. Now, looking at this matchup, we do know that they face off against none other than Connecticut Sun, where Connecticut Sun do come in and have a 10-win, 29 record. They actually rank 11th in the WNBA, but that also puts them in the actual 5th spot in the Eastern Conference, as we've mentioned, and over the last 10 games have a record of 5-5. So, very interesting to see there. Now, coming into this next one, we do very much like the actual, situation here, because Connecticut Sun, when we look at them defensively, firstly, we do know Connecticut Sun do actually rank 10th when it comes to points allowed, 11th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed, they do rank 11th. So that's why coming into this next one, we do very, very much like the over for this situation here. I know we have had a lot of overs, but you know, this one's definitely just another no-brainer for us again, due to the fact that when you look at Briana Jones, she is a high value player, high usage rate, and we definitely see her being able to take advantage of this situation here. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for the over for this one. Now looking at Briana Jones over the last 5 games, we see on the 20th, faced off against Las Vegas Aces, had a 74-72 loss with 6 points, 5 rebounds, 0 assists there. On the 22nd, faced off against Minnesota Lynx, had a 75-73 win with 8 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists there. Then on the 24th, faced off against New York Liberty, had a 78-62 win with 17 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. After that, on the 28th, faced off against the Las Vegas Aces, had an 81-75 loss with 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 assist there. Then on the 30th, faced off against Dallas, had a 178 win with 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Briana Jones, we have seen her do a fantastic job time and time again. And coming into this next one, we definitely are expecting her to be able to go on the over in this situation once again.